Another day, another headline. You know, Steph McNeil over at Glamour says, wow, these creators are just milking the story of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. They're just milking it. There is not new news every day. And yes, there is. There is new news every day on this case. It's like we can't escape it because just now, just a few minutes ago, ding, 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 Ryan Reynolds has filed a motion to dismiss on his own. On his own. Isn't that curious, as they say? Welcome to Daily Dose of Donna. Second Daily Dose of Donna for the day. Are you guys sick of me yet? Are you sick of me yet? Have you subscribed? Welcome to the show. For all of you guys that are new, thank you for subscribing and liking this video. This is an afternoon delight. A Daily Dose of Donna afternoon delight. We're going to go through this motion to dismiss from Mr. Ryan Reynolds, from Mr. Deadpool himself. Holy moly. Not nice pool. Deadpool. Let's think about and hear about. I haven't looked at it yet. I know a lot of people have already seen it. I haven't seen anything. So we're going to find out what's going on from Ryan. We're going to find out why he left his little wifey out to dry. How are you guys doing today? Are we feeling good? Feeling happy? Thank you for letting me cry this morning. I did have a little bit of a cry this morning. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. Got to do it on every episode. This is your Daily Dose of Donna. Guys, I'm ready. I want to get right into it. Let's get into it together. Christian says, a double dose of Donna. I love it. That's what my husband said. Jamie says, my first live. This case is really bringing the people together for better or worse, always with teeth. Yes. Yes. So much teeth. So much teeth. Everyone call your dentist. We've got teeth. Teeth on this one. Let's go. Well, Deadline has announced it. They said Ryan Reynolds slams Justin Baldoni. Let's look at the article together first before we run into the actual. I don't have that much time, so we're not going to be able to go through everything. But it says Ryan Reynolds slams Justin Baldoni's $400 million gossip rag suit. Oh, he is just such a jerkyola, huh? He's like a beef jerky. That's what we call him. Welcome to a membership, Julia. Julia. Check your mic. What do you mean I'm cutting out? Am I cutting out for everyone or just you guys? Or just you guys? Am I cutting out for everyone or just Gina? Please check if I'm cutting out for everyone. It's really windy here in LA, strangely enough. Let me know. Ryan Reynolds slams Justin Baldoni's $400 million gossip rag suit. Deadpool star moves for dismissal, it says. Claiming Justin Baldoni has nothing but clickbait, falsehoods, and hurt feelings on him. He wants out of the It Ends With Us star's $400 million defamation and extortion against a Deadpool leading man. Okay, let's get into it. I'm done with you, Ryan. As if I didn't like you already. Now I really don't like him. All right, I sound good for everyone else. Sorry to who I didn't sound good for. Maybe try refreshing. All right, let's do it. We don't have that much time. I've got a baseball game to get to. I do have some time. I have over an hour, so don't you worry. United States District Court. You guys know I'm going to try to get through this fast. Another That's What She Said, right? Why do you think he's doing this without his wife? Okay, let's see this. Hubby is a lawyer from Soon. She says, hubby is a lawyer. Ryan did in fact defame Justin, calling Justin a predator. He's disappointed that Ryan's lawyers have the audacity to say otherwise. Wow. Okay, so let's get through this. I guess at some point he calls her a predator. Oh my goodness, I'm not even there yet. I'm so excited. You know, in case you need some writing today. This is the introduction. It says Blake Lively sued Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni, et cetera, et cetera. We know all of this. It's like a whole story. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do I read it like him? I guess I do. Blake Lively sued Jamie, Justin, It Ends With Us, Wayfair, blah, 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 after they collectively launched a retaliatory social manipulation campaign to destroy and bury her because she privately spoke up about SH. I'm going to say SH because Shasti Flo told me to try to minimize my saying sexual. So SH, and inappropriate conduct that she and others experience on the set of the film It Ends With Us. That's the film. So what does Ryan Reynolds have to do with that, legally speaking, other than being a supportive spouse who has witnessed firsthand the emotional, reputational, and financial devastation Miss Lively has suffered? Nothing. Nothing. Mr. Reynolds is a defendant in this action for one reason and one reason only. Because billionaire plaintiff Steve Sarowitz promised to spend up to $100 million to ruin Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds. The First amended complaint that Sarowitz and his co-plaintiffs filed seeks to fulfill that promise by polluting this court's docket with hundreds of paragraphs of clickbait designed for an audience other than this court, with virtually no bearing on cognizable legal claims. You guys, he wrote this shit. There is no question he wrote this. Like, literally wrote this. The Wayfarer parties have described the FAC as their most recent attempt to put all the evidence before the court and the public. Emphasis in original. That is a damning concession given the lack of any actual evidence supporting any legal cognizable claim against Mr. Reynolds. The Wayfarer parties' so-called receipts include annotated excerpts, many with heavy redactions made by some unidentified person of emails, text messages, videos, and photographs, such as large colored photographs comparing Mr. Reynolds' long hairstyle in a movie with Mr. Baldoni's long hairstyle at some point in his real life. But the FAC is a pleading, not a gossip rag. And these so-called receipts fail to establish the requisite elements of a single one of the many causes of action alleged against Mr. Reynolds. Dude, what the world? He's basically saying these so-called receipts are just not receipts. They're just like opinions, basically. The Wayfarer parties attempt, but fail to assert 6 causes of action as to Mr. Reynolds. Each fails to plead facts sufficient to establish wait, what the fuck is this word? A prima facie case as a matter of law. For example, the plaintiffs collectively assert a claim for defamation without pleading a single complete statement or identifying the time or place of such statement, nor can they, because no such defamatory statement exists. Further, the entirety of plaintiff's defamation claim appears to be based on 2 times that Mr. Reynolds allegedly called Mr. Baldoni a predator. But the FAC alleges no plausible facts that suggest Mr. Reynolds did not believe this comment to be true. Instead, the relevant FAC allegations suggest that Mr. Reynolds genuinely, perhaps passionately, believes that Mr. Baldoni's behavior is reflective of a predator. Even if the FAC plausibly alleged that Mr. Reynolds called Mr. Baldoni a predator while believing the opposite, which it does not, the law establishes that calling someone a predator amounts to constitutionally protected opinion. Whoa. You guys, this is wild. And the FAC's thin-skinned outrage over a movie character, the satirical woke, nice pool, does not even pretend to be tied to any legal claims. Instead, it falls into the FAC's general allegations of hurt feelings, which in reality is nothing more than a desperate effort to advance the same curated bully image that the Wayfarer parties created and disseminated in the retaliation campaign they launched against Miss Lively in August of 2024. This is Ryan Reynolds, 1000%. You don't even need to know how Ryan Reynolds writes to know that this is Ryan Reynolds, right? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Hold on. Okay. I am going to take all of this right here. Okay. I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to go to, hold on. I'm going to bring you guys with me in just a second. I'm going to stop this screen. I'm going to share you guys over here. We're going to go to ChatGPT. please, what's the right word? Please, I can't think of the word. What's the word when you change the, like, translate? Please translate this in simpler language. I want to see what this, share this tab instead. Okay, here, I asked that whole sentence. All right, I'll read it to you guys. That whole paragraph, what it said. The Wayfarer parties try but fail to make 6 legal claims against Mr. Reynolds. None of these claims are backed by enough facts to support a case. For example, they say Mr. Reynolds defamed someone, but they don't explain what exactly was said, when or where, because no such defamatory statement actually exists. The main defamation claim seems to be about Mr. Reynolds calling Mr. Baldoni a predator twice. However, there are no facts showing that Mr. Reynolds didn't believe what he said. In fact, it seems that Mr. Reynolds Okay, so basically, the main defamation claim seems to be about Mr. Reynolds calling Justin Baldoni a predator twice. However, there are no facts that Ryan Reynolds didn't actually believe that that Justin Baldoni was a predator. He actually did believe he was a predator. So it's an opinion, he's saying. He's saying, I actually did believe that Justin Baldoni was a predator. So, paraphrase is a good one. Thank you, Daniel. So, I actually believe that Justin Baldoni was a predator, so I feel like I'm allowed to say that. And then he said, it says the lawsuit also complains about a movie character, Nice Pool, which seems to be based on feelings of offense rather than actual legal issues. In reality, this complaint is just an attempt to push the same bully image that the Wayfarer parties created. Interesting. That's a good way also to say it. Please explain like I'm 5. That's how I'm going to say the next time. ChatGPT is genius, isn't it? Okay, let's go back to the lawsuit. You guys, is it defamatory to say I highly dislike Ryan Reynolds? But what Wanda just said is really important here. Being a predator is not an opinion. Calling someone a predator is so defamatory. If someone went around to a party at William Morris and said, I think Donna Bowling is a, whatever. You can't say that and be like, it's just my opinion. Oh, she's just a rapist. It's just my opinion. Oh, she's a pedophile. Opinion. Like, you can't do that. That's not okay. Sorry, that's totally not an opinion. It's not cool. All right, let's go back to this crazy, crazy lawsuit. All the other claims fail for similar reasons. The Wayfarer parties say that Mr. Reynolds extorted them, but fail to allege that he received any money or property. They claim he interfered with a contract without identifying what that contract is, what provisions were allegedly breached, or even which of them were parties to it. They assert $400 million in damages without explaining anything about who suffered that loss, in what proportion, as a result of which claims, or what proximately caused such losses. The FAC is long on hyperbole, prose, and claims, but devoid of any facts necessary to state one's recognized by law. It is, in essence, a burn book. Okay, Monica Garcia from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 4. Geez. It is, in essence, a burn book filled with grievances attempting to shame Mr. Reynolds. Shame, 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 shame. What movie is that from? What movie is that from, you guys? Shame, shame, shame. That's from a movie. I can't remember what it is, but I know it's from a movie. To shame Mr. Reynolds for being the kind of Game of Thrones. Thank you. For being the kind of man, I've never seen it, but that actually works for Khaleesi, right? It's a Khaleesi. Shame, shame. It's a Khaleesi reference. Okay. To shame Mr. Reynolds for being the kind of man who is confident enough to listen. Oh, I can't stand him, you guys. For being the kind of man who is, quote unquote, confident enough to listen to the woman in his life and to hold her, quote, anguish and actually stand with her. The FAC is, in sum, a textbook retaliatory SLAPP suit, and it should be dismissed with prejudice. You guys, what is SLAPP? What is a SLAPP suit? Do we know? Let me ask. What is a SLAPP suit? According to ChatGPT, a SLAPP suit stands for strategic lawsuit against public participation. It's a type of lawsuit that is filed with the primary purpose of intimidating or silencing individuals or groups who are exercising their right to free speech, often on matters of public interest. The goal of a SLAPP suit is not necessarily to win the case, but to burden the defendant with legal costs and stress, hoping they will back down or stop speaking out. They were usually used by powerful individuals, companies, or organizations against activists, journalists, or others who criticize or challenge them publicly. Okay. So in short, they're a tactic used to discourage people from speaking out by threatening them with expensive and time-consuming legal action. I feel like Blake Lively filed a SLAPP suit on Justin Baldoni. Am I nuts? Don't you feel like Blake Lively actually filed a SLAPP suit? Like a tactic used to discourage people from speaking out by threatening them with expensive and time-consuming legal action. Doesn't that make sense? It's so not like, I don't think that, I mean, why did she sue him? Okay, whatever. Let's keep going. Yeah, they're projecting. That's how I feel too. Background. Do we really have to learn the background? He has to always say the background. You know, when he wants to say background, that's his way of saying perineum. For Ryan Reynolds, background means my perineum. He should have just called the background my perineum. That's, I mean, we all know he's thinking of it. The Wayfarer parties have asserted a grab bag of claims against Mr. Reynolds in their FAC, including civil extortion, defamation, false light invasion of privacy, intentional interference with contractual relations, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. Oh, gosh. And together, intentional interference claims and negligent interference with prospective economic advantage. Oh, my God. The Wayfarer parties claim that they have suffered no less than $400 million in compensatory damages, plus mental pain and anguish and severe and serious emotional distress, not to mention hurt feelings, for which they posit they deserve additional compensation. FAC prayer for relief. What is that? FAC prayer for relief. What is that, you guys? What is the FAC prayer for relief? Do we know what that is? I don't remember ever seeing anything called the FAC prayer for relief. Okay. A FAC prayer for relief is a formal request for the remedies or the outcomes the plaintiff hopes to obtain, such as monetary damages, injunctive relief, declaratory relief, or other specific actions. Okay. Despite its length, the FAC alleges only a few isolated acts by Mr. Reynolds. With respect to the defamation claim, the FAC does not plead a single complete statement published by Mr. Reynolds. The only hint about the purported statements that are alleged to form the base of the defamation claim is the following assertion in 325. So he's saying the FAC does not plead a single complete statement published by Mr. Reynolds. The only hint about the purported statements that are alleged to form the basis of the defamation claim is this one, which says the Lively parties made one or more statements to persons other than the Wayfarer parties, including without limitation to the New York Times, to the effect that the Wayfarer parties engaged in, permitted, and or failed to prevent sexually inappropriate conduct towards Lively and others, and that the Wayfarer parties retaliated against Lively and others for reporting the alleged sexual misconduct, including by propagating false and misleading narratives about Lively for the purpose of damaging her image and reputation. Okay. Oh, Lauren's here. You were just live, I just saw. We're all in this together. Welcome. Okay. Only 2 allegations in the FAC even generously match that description with respect to statements purportedly published by Mr. Reynolds. Her publicist, Leslie Sloan, went so far as to propagate malicious stories portraying Baldoni as a sexual predator, a term Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, also used to describe Baldoni when he called Baldoni's own agent. And Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of his movie Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agency, namely an executive, William Morris, and expresses deep disdain for Baldoni, suggesting the agency was working with a sexual predator. A phrase that uncoincidentally later appeared in the press and at a later date demanded that the agent drop Baldoni. Okay. All emphasis added. Together, the Predator statements. Coming to a theater near you. The Predators, starring Deadpool and Wolverine. Apart from these 2 statements, the totality of the FAC's allegations against Mr. Reynolds are that Mr. Reynolds, number 1, demanded that the Wayfarer parties publicly apologize for so-called mistakes during production. And number 2, was present during a meeting at the apartment that he shares with Miss Lively, at which he praised Miss Lively's version of a scene in Mr. Baldoni's presence. Number 3, allegedly contributed some writing of his own to the script. Number 4, admonished Mr. Baldoni for asking about Miss Lively's weight and demanded that a scene be removed from the film. Number 5, attended a meeting with Miss Lively to address her allegations of sexual harassment on set and demanded that Mr. Baldoni apologize for his conduct. And number 6, unfollowed Mr. Baldoni on social media. Number 7, included the nice pool character in Deadpool and Wolverine that the FAC alleges was meant to satirize Mr. Baldoni's persona as a woke feminist. So is he saying that none of those were true? You guys, is he actually saying, he's saying apart from those 2 statements, the totality of these FAC allegations are all of these? Okay. Do we have to? Okay. So these are all the statements. Now he's saying, legal standard, in reviewing a motion to dismiss under Fed the court accepts all factual allegations as true and draws all reasonable inferences in the plaintiff's favor. However, this requirement is inapplicable to legal conclusions and threadbare recitals of the elements of a cause of action supported by a mere conclusory statements do not suffice. I hate when they do this because then it's hard to understand. A complaint must offer more than labels and conclusions or a formulaic recitation of the elements of a cause of action or naked assertions devoid of further factual enhancement in order to... That's the legal standard. We don't understand what that means. Do I need to chat GPT what that means? Okay, here is the arguments. I guess if we go through the arguments, okay, so those are the 6. These are the 6 allegations about the FAC. All of these 6. The demand, the letter of demand, remember that crazy letter of demand, the meeting, the fat shaming meeting, the writing of the balcony scene or the rooftop scene, when he was at the meeting and talking about sexual harassment, when he unfollowed Justin Baldoni on social media, and when he wrote Nice Pool. Those are the 6 things. His argument is that the claims against Mr. Reynolds fail under both New York and California law. While the Wayfarer parties appear to agree with Miss Lively that California law applies to the allegations in the case she filed, that does not answer what law applies to the Wayfarer parties' claims against Mr. Reynolds. The choice of law may vary by defendant and also by specific claim, even against the same party. To the extent that there is no conflict between California and New York law with respect to the Wayfarer's party's claims against Mr. Reynolds, the court may simply apply New York law. To the extent there is a conflict, as there may be with respect to the extortion, false light, and negligent interference claims, New York law applies to the claims against Mr. Reynolds because New York is the jurisdiction having the greatest interest in those claims, given the way that Wayfarer parties pled the claims against him in the FAC. Wait, so what he's trying to say is basically, what he's trying to say is that he's like not even talking about the actual claims. He's like worried about where it is, if it's New York or if it's in California. Interesting. Okay. Mr. Reynolds focused solely on the conduct that occurred in New York while he resided in that state. Interesting. Let's keep going. Whereas here, Mr. Reynolds' alleged torts are conduct regulating rather than loss allocating. The law of the state where the conduct occurred will typically apply. Further, unlike Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds was never an employee of Wayfarer Studios, nor did Mr. Reynolds ever have, unlike Miss Lively, any contractual relationship with the Wayfarer parties, and therefore no contractual choice of law provision to apply. As set forth below, however, each of the claims fail under both New York and California law, and therefore the FAC should be dismissed with prejudice against Mr. Reynolds. So basically, he's saying that, and I mean, I'm going to need a lawyer to step in here and explain, but he's basically saying that because two things, he was never an actual, what's it called? He was never an actual employee of Wayfarer. So that's part of it. So he was never contractually obligated by Wayfarer in any way. And then number two, because it's under both California and New York jurisdiction, there's enough prejudice that it should just be dismissed. That seems wild. That's like just trying to find a way out of the court system. Then over here, it says the court should dismiss all of the 6 causes of actions as to Mr. Reynolds with prejudice. It says the FAC fails to state a claim for defamation against Mr. Reynolds. The defamation claims fails as a matter of law. It is fatally deficient because the FAC does not identify a single allegedly defamatory statement published by Mr. Reynolds, including either of the predator statements. Moreover, to state a claim for slander, a plaintiff must plead a defamatory statement of fact that is false, published to a third party, and of concerning the plaintiff, made with the applicable level of fault on the part of the speaker, either causing special harm or constituting slander per se, and not protected by privilege. The FAC fails to plead the claim in virtually every respect. Oh my God. Let's try to explain this. So he's basically saying because it doesn't have all of these different markers, it's not defamation. Do you get that? In order for something to be marked as defamation, it has to have all of these things. For slander, it has to have a defamatory statement of fact that's false, published to a third party, of and concerning the plaintiff, made with the applicable level of fault on the part of the speaker, either causing special harm or constituting slander, not protected by privilege. He's literally like desperado. Desperado. It says the Wayfarer complaint does not sufficiently identify any defamatory statements published by Mr. Reynolds. The court should dismiss the defamation claim as to Mr. Reynolds because the FAC does not include allegations specific enough to afford him sufficient notice of the communications complained to enable him to defend himself. It brings up another court case. It says a long line of okay, let's move on. What is even the statement that he's even talking about? A long line of cases in this district holds that a defamation claim is only sufficient if it adequately identifies the purported communication and identification and an indication of who made the communication, when it was made, and who was communicated. Oh my God. It says the court can determine the essential elements of a defamation claim under New York law, including whether the statement was false, whether it was capable of defamatory meaning, and whether it was and of concerning the plaintiff. The FAC fails to sufficiently plead the substance of the predator statements, which are the only ones relevant to the defamation claim as to Mr. Reynolds. As to the agent statement, the FAC does not plead what Mr. Reynolds said, when he said it, or any of the context surrounding the conversation during which he purportedly uttered the agent's statement. C, number 8, stating only that Mr. Reynolds used the term sexual predator to describe Mr. Baldoni during a phone call with Mr. Baldoni's agent. The absence of these details makes it impossible, for example, to determine whether the statement falls within the applicable 1-year statute of limitations for defamation. This jerk. He's trying to get out of it for a 1-year statute of limitations. Well, why doesn't Steve Sarowitz get out of that $100 million gonna ruin you for the same reason? Yeah, of course he said it. Paquetto's saying, so he admits he says it. Of course he said it. He probably said it 30 times. What a jerk. The absence of these details. Oh, yeah, okay, I said that. The sole allegation as to the executive statement provides only slightly more details. Namely, that Mr. Reynolds and an unnamed executive at William Morris had a conversation during a movie premiere about Mr. Reynolds' deep disdain for Baldoni, suggesting the agency was working with a sexual predator. The FAC does not allege what precise term Mr. Reynolds used in this alleged suggestion, the sentence in which he allegedly suggested it, or any information about the context of the conversations, other than that one of them was about how much Mr. Reynolds dislikes him for having sexually harassed his wife. Such bare bones pleadings fail to satisfy Rule 8 and a warrant dismissal of a slander claim. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, Ryan walked around these parties and just lost it and told everyone that would listen about what a horrible man Justin Baldoni is. Unreal. It says there it fails dismissal without leave to amend where plaintiff fails to specifically allege the time, the place, the speaker, or the listener for each allegedly defamatory statement. Well, this is actually really important because why aren't we finding out exactly who Steve Sarowitz said that I'm going to spend $100 million to bury these people? Remember that conversation? Or let's go a little deeper. Remember her amended complaint where she brought up Israel and Hamas? Let's talk about that. Why don't you just throw it under these statements then? If we can throw that shit under these statements, then let's do the same with that. Right? Look, I threw off my sweater for this conversation. If the rules apply to Ryan, then the rules apply to any of these conversations. It's ridiculous. Sorry. This is ridiculous. Okay. The predator statements are not defamatory because they're a constitutionally protected opinion. The predator statements are unactionable opinion. You guys, yes, it's true. I just want to let you know I have an opinion, and I think that Zach Peter is a predator. It's my opinion. It's just my opinion. JMO, just my opinion. Allegedly. As a threshold matter, because there is no such thing as a false idea, courts must distinguish between statement of fact, which may be defamatory, and expressions of opinion, which are not defamatory. Instead, opinions receive absolute protection under the New York Constitution. I have a huge opinion about Ryan Reynolds. The predator statements constitute unactionable opinion because they have no precise meaning. are not capable of being objectively characterized as true or false. We can just have opinions about anything anymore and are merely a general reflection of the speaker's viewpoint. As another court in this district has explained, courts have recognized that words like scum, predators, greedy cooks, and criminals preying on street art culture are vague, imprecise statements of hyperbole considered non-actionable opinion. Oh my God. Stephanie says Zach catching strays. Poor Zach. He's like, what did I do? Exactly. Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion, you're a predator. We can all say it now. You guys, this is really in our opinion, you're a predator, Ryan. It's just an opinion. We should all just say it out loud now and then in really small words say in our opinion. In our opinion. That's a really dangerous place to go with any of this stuff, you guys. It is really, really dangerous. Actually, why can't we just say that Blake Lively thinks that Justin Baldoni sexually harassed her, but it was just her opinion? It was just her opinion that she was sexually harassed. The second you start saying things like this are opinions, that's dangerous. We're getting into a dangerous zone, in my opinion. In my opinion. In my opinion, by Donna Bowling. Use of colorful language such as predator, victimized, or face of evil are not actionable in and of themselves. Calling people predators is rhetorical, hyperbole. Calling someone crazy is a hyperbolic expression of opinion. Calling someone evil, an animal, or shameless is hyperbole. While Mr. Baldoni may not appreciate being called a predator, those hurt feelings do not give rise to legal claims because name calling does not reflect a fact, but a non-verifiable view. Because this is nuts. This is actually nuts. This may be the most wild lawsuit claim I have ever seen in my life. Don't you guys agree? Like, have you ever seen this? Like, it's just an opinion that I went around to your agency that you get employed by and just told them that you were a sexual predator. That's nuts. That's actually so scary that he's trying to do this. Wow. I'm going to keep going. The First Amendment principles ought to be obvious to, even celebrated by, a group of litigants who have spent most of the past few months calling Mr. Reynolds and his wife bullies and liars. Wow. The FAC fails to plead any facts indicating that Mr. Reynolds' statements could be reasonably understood to have been an assertion of fact capable of being proven false rather than a pure opinion that is not actionable under the laws of New York. Under the laws of New York, Higgins. Sorry, my computer just acted crazy. Let me get it right. Higgins. While the FAC fails to provide sufficient details about the predator statements, which alone is grounds for dismissal, the limited context it does provide militates in favor of a finding that they are assertions of opinion. The FAC alleges that Mr. Reynolds made the predator statements during a phone conversation with Mr. Baldoni's agent, and at a movie premiere during a conversation with a William Morris executive during which Mr. Reynolds was expressing his deep disdain for Mr. Baldoni, which is utterly fatal under the opinion doctrine because it is plainly reflective of Mr. Reynolds' unabashed negative opinion of Mr. Baldoni's character. Should we drink every time he says opinion? I mean, look at this. Immediate affiliate says, hurt feelings? Yeah, I guess my feelings would be hurt if my agency dropped me and I was at risk of becoming a pariah. That boy's a pariah. That boy's a pariah. Yeah, no shit. This is nuts. Like, why are they minimizing his feelings like this? Like, oh, he's just having hurt feelings. Oh, Sorry. It's very girls just want to have fun. Did I hit you? Sorry. Sick. They are bullies and liars. Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to hold Mr. Baldoni or any man who Mr. Reynolds believes sexually harassed his wife in deep disdain. And the FAC does not allege any plausible facts that would remotely suggest, let alone establish, that anyone interpreted Mr. Reynolds' statements as reflecting anything other than his genuinely held belief about Mr. Baldoni's character. The court should dismiss the defamation claim as to Mr. Reynolds with prejudice because the predator's statements are expressions of opinion that deserve absolute protection by law. If the predator's statements are not opinion, they are substantially true. Even if the predator's statements were verifiable by fact, they are not actionable as defamation because they're substantially true. You guys, I kind of can't handle him. Oh my God. I can't handle him. He's actually horrible, you guys. I really, truly, I think I don't like him maybe even more than Blake Lively now. The Second Circuit has held that whether statements are substantially true is appropriate for resolution in a motion to dismiss because falsity is an element of New York's defamation tort, and falsity refers to material and not substantially true. The complaint in this case must plead facts that, if proven, would establish that the defendant's statements were not substantially true. A statement is substantially true if the statement would not have a different effect on the mind of the reader from that which the pleaded truth would have produced. When the truth is so near to the facts as published that fine and shaded distinctions must be drawn and words pressed out of their ordinary usage to sustain a charge of libel, no legal harm has been done. It is not necessary to demonstrate complete accuracy to defeat a charge of libel, and all that is necessary to demonstrate the gist or substance of the challenged statements be true. I don't know, oh my God, can you just imagine Ryan Reynolds? We'll get back to this. Can you imagine Ryan Reynolds just walking around his bedroom, just like typing this up and just fucking feeling yeah, I'm going to fucking show him Blake, we're so going to win this case. We're so getting him here. It's just an opinion, Blake. Opinion, opinions matter. Opinions lives matter, Blake. OLM. Okay, write that. Make it a sticker, okay? Hashtag OLM. Opinion lives matters. I can't stand this man. He walks around, he's we're the shit. That guy is a predator. We matter. Okay. Opinion, lives matter. I just can see him. He's just, because I truly don't think that they think they're wrong. I really do believe to come out with this is narcissism 101. There's no way you write this and you let this out into the public unless you 100% believe you're right. Don't you agree? There's no way that you write this without thinking you are 100% right. Leisha says, please like and subscribe. We appreciate you, Donna. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Wow. I'm in shock. We all need to take a shower. It's my opinion that we all need to take a shower because he is dirty. In my opinion. Back to the show. The FAC includes numerous references to conduct that a reasonable observer could well consider predatory. In particular, the FAC relies on here we go. Mr. Baldoni's books, Boys Will Be Human and Man Enough, and his podcast, Man Enough, even going so far as to declare that anyone who knows Baldoni would have knowledge of the contents of Mr. Baldoni's books. Those materials with which anyone who knows about Mr. Baldoni would be familiar, including numerous admissions to behavior that could reasonably be described as predatory. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's talking about Justin Baldoni's vulnerabilities and sharing stuff about his own personal life. And now he's yeah, he's talked about his life. He is kind of a predator. Let's be honest. include numerous admissions to behavior that could reasonably be described as predatory. And then he brings up this, which is basically him saying that, oh no, this is a different. Okay, he's talking about a talk on healthy masculinity with Justin Baldoni, where he says, I'm sure I've crossed boundaries and lines in my teens and 20s, not even thinking about it simply because of the porn I was consuming. I'm sorry. I don't know what kind of bubble you're in, but name a teenage boy that doesn't consume porn. Sorry. And yes, I am a boy mom, and I realize that this is in my life. I am going to enter this dimension in my life, okay? Because I am not living under a bubble. And you know what, Ryan? It's my opinion that one of your sons is going to be watching a lot of porn. And it's my opinion that I hope he does. In my opinion, Ryan, I hope your sons watch lots of porn. So much porn at some point when they're older. Okay, let's go on. Because it's just normal. Like, that's just normal teenage behavior. Puberty is normal. And by the way, what teens, I mean, I guess that's not like a normal thing in every house, but a lot of teens do that. That's not weird. That shouldn't be so weird. And the fact that he talked about it and just like showed that he grew from it and everything is being weaponized against him. And I hate that. I hate that that's happening. It's really upsetting. Yeah, Ryan's interview about the breastfeeding mom is predatory, Rebecca mentions. Why are we exactly? I can't wait for Brian Friedman to get his hands on this. Oh, Brian's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. It's crazy. And if you're under rocks, did Ryan Reynolds never watch porn? Is Ryan Reynolds like this perfect man? Oh, and then he continues to talk about the porn. All about how he watched porn as a kid. Da, da, da. Okay, I don't want to keep saying this on YouTube, but okay. While it is unclear what, in quotes, predator means to an average listener, it is quite clear that there is no discernible distinction between the gist of Mr. Reynolds' purported statements and the very behavior to which Mr. Baldoni has repeatedly confessed in public appearances, including that he spent years of his life mistreating women, which he attributes to a lengthy addiction to pornography, as well as openly describing his distorted conception of consent in sexual relationships. Were this case to go to trial, oh, this is Ryan. Here we go. Ryan. I wish I had my glasses here so I could look dorky like him. Were this case to go to trial, it would be Mr. Baldoni's burden to prove the factual falsity of the supposed allegation that he is a predator. But the law offers no principal basis for a jury to distinguish that label from Mr. Baldoni's descriptions of his own behavior. Oh my God. C. Guccione versus Hustler Mag. Wow. Finding substantial truth where an article called plaintiff an adulterer because an average reader would understand that term to include the admitted truth that he was a man who unabashedly committed adultery for 13 of the last 17 years and whose adulterous behavior ended only because his wife ultimately divorced him. What is he talking about? It would be perverse to permit Mr. Baldoni to build an entire brand, complete with a podcast, TED Talk, and books off of his confessions of repeatedly mistreating women, only to turn around and sue Mr. Reynolds for $400 million for simply pointing out in private what Mr. Baldoni has bragged about in public. In light of Mr. Baldoni's own public admissions, of which the court can take judicial notice. Taking judicial notice of experts of books and articles written by plaintiffs prior to alleged defamation attached to defendant's declaration due to their references of all their, content. The substantial truth doctrine requires dismissal of Mr. Baldoni's defamation claims as to Mr. Reynolds. Wow. Number 3, the FAC fails to plead special damages. Dismissal of the defamation claim is warranted because the FAC does not allege defamation per se, but nonetheless fails to fully and accurately plead special damages with sufficient particularity to identify actual losses. Okay. This particularity requirement is strictly applied as defamation claims will be dismissed for failure to allege special damages with the requisite degree of specificity. Far from fully and accurately identifying any harm that flowed directly from the injury to reputation caused by the predator's statements, the FAC generally claims at least $400 million in compensatory damages without explaining what amount, if any, of that astronomical sum allegedly was suffered by Mr. Baldoni versus any of the other Wayfarer parties or otherwise caused by the predator's statements. What he doesn't get is calling someone a predator, an S predator, a sexual predator is so much bigger than just saying like, yeah, he's an ass or he's a jerk or he's a jerk, whatever. Calling them this it means so much because it's your whole career. So it's all of the money that you could potentially make for the rest of your career. This is such a big loss for him in his life. Such a big loss. It's so unreal. Okay. So he's basically saying we can't really figure out why it's this much money for this statement. The court should strictly apply the particularity requirement and dismiss the defamation claim for failure to allege special damages with the requisite degree of specificity. So basically, you can't put the amount of money. You can't say that this is worth that amount of money, so it's not worth it, so you have to dismiss it basically fully because you can't even say that it's worth that amount of money. The FAC fails to plead facts demonstrating actual malice. Oh, there's no actual malice in calling someone a predator. Don't be silly. As a public figure, Mr. Baldoni must plead facts demonstrating that Mr. Reynolds uttered the predator statements with actual malice. Guys, this is the craziest thing ever. There has to be actual malice when you call someone a predator. Hey, what's up, predator? Hey, buddy. Hey, predator. Hey, what you doing, Preddy? Hey, friend. Hey, Preddy. What? As a public figure, Mr. Baldoni must plead facts demonstrating that Mr. Reynolds uttered the predator statements with actual malice. In other words, that Mr. Reynolds, in fact, entertained serious doubts as to the truth of his publication. If the plaintiff is a public figure, then he must prove that the defendant acted with actual malice. The FAC's conclusory assertion that the lively parties knew the statements were false or had serious doubts about the truth of his statements is a threadbare recitation of the legal element that is insufficient to sustain the law's heavy burden on defamation plaintiffs. What? Nor do claims of animus, like Mr. Reynolds' deep disdain for and rage and wrath directed at Mr. Baldoni, sufficiently plead actual malice. Actual malice has nothing to do with bad motive or ill will and may not be inferred alone from evidence of personal spite, ill will, or intention to injure on the part of the writer. It would be inconsistent with the FAC to find that Mr. Reynolds uttered the predator statements with actual malice. Indeed, there is not a single plausible factual allegation from which a jury could conclude that Mr. Reynolds does not believe Mr. Baldoni to be a predator. To the contrary, the FAC alleges that Mr. Reynolds took steps consistent with believing his wife's allegations, including demanding an apology from Mr. Baldoni and mocking Mr. Baldoni's woke feminist facade in Deadpool and Wolverine, not to mention Mr. Baldoni's own public admissions about his past conduct. The deep disdain that the FAC alleges Mr. Reynolds feels towards Mr. Baldoni concedes that Mr. Reynolds subjectively believes what he said about Mr. Baldoni and thus defeats a finding of actual malice. Is he joking? What's happening? What's happening? He's saying he did it. He's saying if I did it, then I clearly didn't have malice in my doing it. Okay, we're ChatGPTing this. We're going to say, tell it to us like we're 5. Back to ChatGPT, baby. Share screen. Explain this to me like I'm 5. Okay. You guys ready for this? This is like we're 5. Okay, imagine someone is saying something about another person, like calling them a bad guy. If that person really believes it's true, then they didn't say it to hurt the other person on purpose or out of hate. In this case, the text is saying that Mr. Reynolds called Mr. Baldoni a predator, the bad guy. But there's no proof that Mr. Reynolds said it to hurt him or lie about him. Actually, it looks like Mr. Reynolds really believed what he was saying because he even asked for an apology and he made fun of Mr. Baldoni's actions in movies. So, since Mr. Reynolds seems to believe what he said, it's hard to say he did it with bad intentions, which means there's no actual malice, meaning he didn't try to harm Mr. Baldoni on purpose. I'm sorry, what? Come again? So he did it. Am I making this up? So he's saying he did it. He's like, so if I did, he's O.J. Simpson. You guys remember when, in my opinion, it's an opinion. In my opinion, Ryan Reynolds is the same as O.J. Simpson now. So basically he's saying, if I did it, here's how I would do it. Do you guys remember when O.J. Simpson wrote that book, If I Did It? That's what he's doing. He's saying, if I did it. He's so narcissistic that he's a literal idiot, C. Rose. If I did it, here's why it's not that bad. Oh my God, I'm dead. Okay, let's keep going. Ugh. This is fun. We're almost done-ish. Okay. The predator statements are not of and concerning any Wayfarer plaintiff other than Mr. Baldoni. The predator statements refer solely to Mr. Baldoni and not any of the 6 other Wayfarer parties. To the extent that the FAC intends to assert the defamation claim on behalf of any defendant other than Mr. Baldoni, it requires dismissal because the predator statements are not of and concerning any of them. So basically he's saying it's only about I only talked shit about Mr. Baldoni. I didn't talk shit about anyone else, right? That's what he's saying. Okay. He's saying the Wayfarer complaint fails to state a claim of false light. The FAC fails to state a claim of false light as a matter of law under either New York or California law. There is no tort of false light invasion of privacy under New York law, and the court need not engage in any further analysis in order to dismiss such a claim. While California law recognizes claims of false light, dismissal also is required when, as here, the claim for false light invasion of privacy is duplicative of a defamation claim. While the FAC's false light claim suffers from the same fatal lack of specificity described above, it also fails because it appears to rely entirely on the alleged public disclosure of information on which the defamation, oh gosh, I hate when my computer does that, on which the defamation claim is based. This is confusing. Finally, even if all of that were not dispositive, the false light claim fails as a matter of law for all the same reasons a defamation claim cannot survive dismissal. Okay. It says there's a conflict between New York and California law as to false light because, as discussed herein, the former does not recognize such a cause of action. I'm a little confused on false light. I don't even know. Whether applying New York or California law, the court should dismiss the FAC's false light claim. Someone else needs to tell me about false light. Does anyone else know about false light? Oh, okay. Zach is here. Zach.
Hi.
Oh my God, Zach, you would die if you just heard what we were talking about.
What were you talking? Perineum?
100% perineum. You guys, I was just about to say, you guys tell Zach. Okay, essentially, we're almost through. Like, we're 27 out of 38 pages. But the main point of this story is this.
What?
Ryan Reynolds is trying to get out of all the defamatory statements based on, and the defamatory statements are pretty much mainly the fact that he called him a predator.
But doesn't he double down on it?
Yes, but he's saying, I did, but it's because it's an opinion.
Oh, he doesn't get the privilege of the press of, calling something an opinion.
He literally says, under like the rule of opinion, I believed it. I believe he is a predator because he sexually abused or harassed my wife. And this is the statement that I just read that like is the most shocking statement. Hold on, let me show you just this one statement that this one paragraph where he basically, do you remember the O.J. Simpson book, If I Did It?
Yeah.
Where he basically confesses to the murder?
Yeah.
Read this one part. Hold on. Okay. It would be inconsistent with the FAC to find that Mr. Reynolds uttered the predator statement with actual malice. So this is when he's saying,
when do you not call somebody a predator without malice?
Right? So basically, he's saying, I didn't do it with malice. I'm not doing it with malice because there is not a single plausible factual allegation from which a jury could conclude that Mr. Reynolds does not believe Mr. Baldoni to be a predator. So basically, he's saying, of course I believe he's a predator, because in that FAC, in that amended complaint, you can see I believe that my wife and her allegations, I demanded an apology. According to that FAC, I demanded that apology from Mr. Baldoni, and I mocked his woke feminist facade in Deadpool and Wolverine, and he had those previous admissions from his books. So clearly, I did think he was a predator. So there's no malice. Like, it was my feelings.
Wait, but when did he call him a predator publicly is my question.
He, in two separate occasions, not publicly, he says privately, he went to a William Morris agent at a party, like a premiere at a party, and then over a phone call. At a screening or a premiere, he was telling William Morris that he was a sexual predator.
Okay.
And then an executive.
I don't know. I don't want to defend Ryan Reynolds here, but
Tell us before we're shame.
Well, no, because but think about it again. Not I always look at it just from the legal side of it. Like defamation. Hold on, we have to really look at the okay.
Well, we talk all about defamation here.
No, I know, but okay. Defamation. Okay, so there's libel and slander. Libel is written. That's why he's suing the New York Times for libel. Slander. This would technically be considered slander. False statements that harm someone's reputation that can lead to civil laws. Okay, so it doesn't have to be made public. It just has to be false, and it just has to be intentional, and it has to hurt someone's reputation. Okay, well then in that case, I think Ryan Reynolds' case sucks because WME already admitted that they're ride or die for Blake and Ryan.
But he does say something about public. Hold on. He does say something about what it needs to be public. We just went through this. He went through like the 6 things that it needs to be. Oh gosh, where was it? Hold on. I need to find it. We just talked about this.
So the legal definition for defamation is that it occurs when someone makes a false statement about another person that damages their reputation. So in this case, I actually think if he can prove that, which I guess he kind of can, because now Ryan Reynolds is basically admitting that in this complaint. Yeah. So in this case, so libel is, I think, where it's a little more tough because that's when it's related to like newspapers or broadcast publications. Whereas in this case, if
here it is. Moreover, to state a claim for slander.
A plaintiff must plead defamatory that the statement, a defamatory statement of fact, this is false, published to a third party of concerning the plaintiff made with applicable level of fault on the part of the speaker. So, well, but there was a third party. It may not have been public, but the third party was WME, and
Yeah.
WME did take action. And Ari Emanuel publicly came out and said that Justin Baldoni was fired, and he
Mhm.
doubled down on that statement. He, made it very clear that that was a premeditated statement. So I actually think Ryan Reynolds, he absolutely defamed Justin Baldoni through slander to WME. Now he has to be able to prove now that this statement was made to WME, which I would imagine maybe they subpoena, or sorry, not subpoena, they depose the agent, his agent.
Zach, he said it. This entire thing is not him denying him saying
Denying
it.
it. Yeah. He said
He
yeah.
fully said it.
But he
Because
said this
the
to
whole
a
thing is
yeah.
him saying it was an opinion. It was an opinion. It was an opinion. He's never denying it in any of it. He's
That's
fully
a
admitting it.
really wild argument, to be honest.
The entire thing is how he's like, it's an opinion. You're allowed to say things under the standard of an opinion. So basically, which I just said is the most dangerous thing you can possibly say. Because if you start saying that you can say anything under the statement of an opinion, to call someone a sexual predator under an opinion is very dangerous.
Yeah, so I guess they're really leaning on the fact that you have to say something as fact with malice to a third party, but, like, in this case, like, when you say something, unless I don't know, I feel like this opinion argument isn't very strong of an opinion. I mean, it isn't very strong of an argument,
In your opinion.
in my opinion.
And then he goes straight into all of Justin's actual predatorial behavior in his past. He talks about him being like addicted to the porn and all the things that he did as a child and as a teen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hold on one second. I want to see. Jennifer says no SH allegations until December 21st. Leslie Sloan stated she did not know of sexual harassment at the time, just harassment. Did the predator comment precede the sexual harassment allegations by months?
So, see, this is what I predicted, is they're all just trying to save themselves.
There's
So the
totally.
stories are not adding up. So
Yep.
now it's really gonna start to get messy. Because
Uh,
right now they're all just trying to prove their own case, and in trying to prove their own case, I think they're setting it up for Brian Friedman to that's why they're all trying to get dismissed. They're all, trying to get the judge to dismiss them from all of this, but it's, if anything, all of these admissions I think are only going to continue to drag this out for them further.
I agree. So let's just get through the last few pages because I would
But
feel like
even if, like, let's just say Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan and the New York Times, let's just say they get dismissed from this lawsuit. One, that means the 400 million would have to be on Blake's tab, and she would still technically have to face this.
yeah, this is such an interesting choice for Ryan to jump out. I mean, I can see why. Listen, even as a
Grasping at
married couple,
everything.
you kind of wanted at least one person to get out of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Someone said, are they delaying the process to delay discovery? Yes. So that's exactly that's why I think they're putting forth such weak arguments that they know is going to delay the process, because at the end of the day, and this is what, like, Leslie Sloan is fighting for right now, is she's trying to stay the discovery process because she wants the judge to rule on her dismissal first. Again, um, it's really just a delay tactic. But I don't
Wow.
understand what the point of
Danielle
delaying
just
it.
sent the most insane super chat sticker. What is it called? A sticker or chat?
Super chat.
Like she sent a super chat that is
Wow.
buying both you and I dinner here in LA one night. That was so
Let's go.
kind, Danielle. Toda
Thank you,
raba.
Danielle.
She said in US law, false light is a tort
Yeah.
because we were talking about false light, a tort concerning privacy that is similar to the tort of defamation. The privacy laws in the United States include a non-public person's right to protection from publicity that creates an untrue or misleading impression about them. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, I would assume false light would be the nice pull bit, right? Because he was leading people. Well, but then the hard part is nobody really knew it was Justin Baldoni until the allegations came out. But then you kind of put those pieces together. I mean, I don't know. Baldoni does have a pretty strong case, to be honest. Like,
I still think he does. And I feel like every day we're being gaslit to believe that he's dying in this case. But I'm like, nothing is making me feel that he is.
Wait, can I tell you a secret? Is this a members
Well-
only or is this broadcast to everybody?
There's 2,130 people here, and I don't have that many members. So no, it's a public show. And by the way, Danielle, seriously, really honestly, thank you so much for that. And I will be giving half of that to Zach. Maybe not half. He just showed up.
No, just buy me a drink.
Okay, $50 on a drink. I'll buy you a really fancy drink. I love you, Danielle. You're such a kind member. You're always here to support both
Yes.
Zach and I. We really appreciate you. Thank you for that. Really, truly. Okay,
Wait,
go
can I
ahead.
tell you my secret?
Yes, tell us. Tell us. Are you coming out?
No. Oh yeah, I'm coming at him straight. It's the self-loathing that I have inside me. No, so we've been very critical of the reporter, the glamour reporter, Stephanie McNeil.
Yes.
So I did something bad, and I reached out to her.
No, she's going to be on your show.
No, I reached out to her and I wrote her a very nice email, and I said, "Listen, I want to extend an olive branch to you, and I'm hoping that I'm inviting you to have a conversation off the record, not on my show, not for glamour, private, off the record conversation, because I would love to have a conversation and see if we can find some common ground, because I think this attack that you have on content creators is unfair. And, I see that there's a lot of heat that's coming at you on the internet right now. And listen, I get it. That's probably a lot of noise, but if you're willing to kind of have an open mind and come into this conversation and maybe, change your perspective on content creators, I think you and I could have a really strong conversation. And I thought that, it would be productive. And she said, absolutely not.
That's the end of it? She responded no?
She said a hard no. And I was like, you know what?
Wait, she responded a hard no?
Here, I'll read. Where's her email? Yeah, she said, I'm going to decline this offer.
That was her sentence.
Going to decline this offer. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I tried to be nice to you, lady. I thought that I was extending an olive branch because I see that the internet fucking hates you right now, which rightfully so, because you went out there and doubled down on all your statements. And I was hoping that maybe, and I said, it's off the record. We don't have to broadcast this. It doesn't have to be on my show.
Oh, so you didn't say come on my show and let's talk.
No, I didn't invite her on my show. I invited her to a private, off the record conversation so that we could just talk, right? Human to human, and be like, listen, I get it. You hate content creators, but can you listen to me and see that some of us are not as nefarious as you're trying to make us out to be? And she was not willing to do that.
Oh my God. Well, listen, I will say this. I think she's truly probably overwhelmed beyond belief. I don't think she's probably ever received this kind of we talked about this Sunday night. I don't think she's ever received this kind of blowback from anything she's ever written in her life.
I think she loves it. I think it's feeding her ego so much right now.
Have you kept up on what she's been posting? Has she been posting about it? I have not been on Instagram.
She had continued to post about it. I haven't looked at her Instagram recently.
Now, Dave Neal, who was on my show yesterday and who's going to be with you tomorrow, and maybe I'll join, I'm not sure if I can yet or not, is talking to Taylor Lorenz today.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I was going to invite her on my show.
Oh, what?
Well, because here's the thing. There's such a divide right now. One, I've never been afraid of sitting at the table against somebody that's opposite of my belief system or what I think about something. I've never been afraid of a challenge.
You think it's about that? You think it's about finding someone that's opposite? She's actually in my opinion, Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion, she is so dangerous.
I agree.
We also just got a huge super sticker too. I don't even know what's going on. MC High Life, I'm new as Team Justin. Let me to you too, but I just adore you both. And you both make my morning so much brighter, MC High Life. Thank you. I will be here to stay beyond the case. Danielle, grab dinner. I'll grab the cocktails. Oh my God.
Aww.
We're going to have such a night out on the town. Do I have to take Zach though? No, I'll take Zach. Zach and I have
You
so much
didn't get
fun.
any of these super chats until I joined the conversation.
okay, fine. You know, Zach and I are besties. We love each other so much as people want to push us apart, pull us
Yeah.
apart. Thank you, MC High Life. Is that like Miller High Life? Do you remember at Miller High Life, the champagne of beers? Thank you, babe. And what is she's willingly obtuse is about Taylor Lorenz. Ali says, I don't find her to be open to anyone on the other side of anything. She's very,
why I
very
would
cruel
love
to people opposite of
listen,
her.
that's why I would love to have a conversation with her. You think I can't handle her? Like, nothing against Dave Neal, but I would love to sit down with Taylor Lorenz and really have a conversation. I wanted to have a conversation with Nick Vial. Most of these people, like Nick, like Stephanie, they're not willing to have a conversation. One, because I don't think they have a strong argument or a strong enough, stance in their belief system to really defend it. But I mean, come on.
I think
I'm
that
not
you
afraid. You
can
think I'm
have a
afraid of
conversation.
Taylor fucking Lorenz?
I'm not
Like,
worried in
please.
any way of you being able to have a conversation with anyone. I think you can have a conversation with the most politically different person than you, the most different social person. I think you're incredibly open to anything, Zach. It's not about you. I worry when I see people like her who makes a living trying to bring, like, I just watched a video that she just posted all about this. Did you see that video? I sent part of it to you about when she
I
was
only saw
calling
the
out
parts.
Emily D.
Yeah.
Baker.
Yeah.
And I was like,
But
this
here's
is
the thing. The thing with Taylor
oh my
Lorenz
God. Look at
is
this. Tanya says, okay, well,
wow.
dessert is on me.
No,
We're
wait, there's another one.
gonna get fat. Thank you, Tanya. And then look at this. Enrique, my Enrique. In the Dominican Republic, we say, who sent you, Zach?
Yay.
That's what you get for being decent. LOL. Obviously, she's going to say no. She's scripted. She can't talk to you without writing it first. That's
Yeah.
glamour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen her try to talk in that Instagram?
Well, that's why she had to delete it and repost it and whatever. But like, here's the thing: I'm willing to come in
Thank you,
and
guys.
like have a civil conversation, a respectful conversation. But I can also hold my own, and I can also hold people accountable. And I'm not afraid of being held accountable myself. And I'm willing to look at other people's perspectives. I'm not afraid of Taylor Lorenz because her bag of tricks is so old and tired and stale that there's nothing new. Like, what did she come at Emily with by calling her a Republican? Like,
We
okay.
said this already. We said, what's the worst thing she could say about us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing that scares me about somebody like Taylor Lorenz is it's not so much, I mean, similar to Blake Lively, it's not so much what they can say about you that's true. It's about what can they throw at you that's potentially false, right? And what can they misrepresent?
Well, they
You
can say
know,
whatever, I guess, now
that's
under
what
the
I
guise
mean.
of
Like,
an opinion.
Look at Blake Lively and look at the
Well,
New York Times. Look at what
under
they
the
did
guise
to
of,
Justin Baldoni.
and now I guess Ryan Reynolds is saying, you can say whatever you want if it's your opinion.
Well, we'll see if that stands up legally. But but the thing is, it's like, it's not so much like my concern with these types of people is it's not what's true that they can use against you. Like, look, they try to drag Emily by saying that she's Republican or whatever, and they pulled old clips of like her YouTube and all of that stuff, and they really tried to frame her in a way that, I mean, that could be considered false light. Like, she can sue them for false light, and she's an attorney. But I think I don't know. For me, it's more of the concern of pulling a Blake Lively and making allegations that are false or framing something in false light that's not genuine to reality. That you see how the New York Times and Ryan Reynolds are trying to get out of this by saying that it's an opinion, or they try to cover themselves with the reporter privilege. That I think that to me is what's more alarming and worrisome is how low they're willing to go.
All right. Well, MJ is here. She says some of the arguments are not bad on the law, but remember that Baldoni will likely get to amend his complaint again, which will allow him to fix the pleading issues. But MJ, I mean, I know where you stand here. So let me ask you, do you agree that saying it's an opinion is a good argument? Does that you think stand as an argument? I don't know about that. Let's hear what you have to say. Christian, my eyebrow boyfriend,
Hi,
you and Christian and your eyebrows. I don't know. I'm just saying you'd have beautiful children.
Wait, where's the interview that you and I did with that person? That article still hasn't come out yet.
Oh, Business Insider?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Or
but what does it have to do with Christian?
no, I just remembered because they're talking about the hit pieces, and I was like, wait, because I was reading people's comments because they
Oh,
were
okay.
saying that they don't believe that Emily D. Baker's a Republican, and I just want to be very clear. Like, I don't know if she is or if she isn't.
No,
I've
that's what
always been
Taylor
very
Lorenz
friendly.
said.
Yeah, that's what Taylor Lorenz was framing her as in some way of trying to discredit her, which also just shows you how ridiculous these people are if those are the arguments that they're going to reduce people to.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so Christian, thank you so much. Love you. I appreciate you, my new best friend. Sorry, Zach. Sorry, Zach, but Christian may be jumping on in there. Thank you, Tracy, for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Okay, we don't have any beef with Emily D. Baker, by the way. People are
No,
asking,
I don't
what's
have
the
any
beef with
beef.
Emily D.
Yeah.
Baker? Zero
There's
beef
no beef at all. We're
whatsoever.
just saying Taylor Lorenz was trying to
She
malign her
created a
character.
video.
Yeah.
And she created a video that was very, very
Wait. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, when you said wait, I was gonna say, they don't love you like I love you. Wait. You know that song?
They
Hold
don't
on.
love you
MJ
like
just came
that.
back and said, yes, technically you can if it's an opinion. And it is clear it's an opinion, but, and a big but, if it is remotely a factual issue as to whether it's an opinion or a fact, then it will not be dismissed. How can you have a fact or an opinion about someone being a predator? It's only I guess it goes back to whether or not he actually sexually harassed Blake. That's where it
Yeah.
comes down to.
Which means you can't dismiss him because we have to follow that through and see where that
We have
takes
to
us.
first we have to first see were the harassment is the harassment case true or not before you dismiss Ryan Reynolds.
You know who the real grifters are?
The lawyers?
No, the Taylor Lorenz and the Stephanie McNeils that are trying to ride off of the popularity of content. Because, like, Taylor Lorenz is literally on a press tour right now where she's trying to malign content creators, but she's literally riding our coattails to try and make herself a name. But I don't know what audience is still loyal to Taylor Lorenz. Like, again, her old bag of tricks is so stale and boring that, like, these tricks don't work anymore. This isn't 2020, you know?
She did an entire video. You guys can look it up. I guess we're giving her a lot of press right now. You can look it up. It's
Good, that's what
literally
she
an
wants. She's so thirsty for this, and so she got, Dave to agree to give her a
well,
little
you also wanted to
juice.
talk to her.
I said I never the invite was never sent to Taylor Rentz. I said I considered it, but I didn't actually invite her on my show or invite her to a conversation. I just said I considered it, and my conversation with Stephanie was an off the record conversation that I offered to have with her, and she declined. But what I wanted to bring up is, did you see what Gwyneth Paltrow said about intimacy coordinators?
Hello, it was on my first Daily Dose of Donna today. Guess you don't listen to my
Oh,
show.
I don't.
You guys, listen to today's Daily Dose of Donna. It's a fabulous show, but in one of the stories, it was so good. Gwyneth Paltrow talks about her new movie with Timothy Chalamet. Do you want to share?
Chalamet. Well, just that
She
she
had a
says
lot of sex
a
with
lot of
Timothy
sex
Chalamet,
scenes, a lot of
and
scenes,
said,
and said that she told the intimacy coordinator to take a step back because it made her feel a little stifled by
no,
the
she said, what
presence.
is this intimacy coordinator on the set?
Yeah,
Like,
because it's new. It's something
yeah,
that
the
they
way
did
we
her
do it
era.
normally is just like, we're two people, we feel each other out, we're on camera, we know how we're doing it.
You
And
read
that was during like
chemistry.
sex scenes, like
Yeah,
major sex scenes.
yeah.
Interesting, right? Okay, so I don't have that much time because I've got to get to a baseball game. So let's just jump into a little bit more, and then I mean, we got through so much of it, but just a little bit more. The Wayfarer complaint fails to, this is trying to basically get the case dismissed. He's saying the Wayfarer complaint fails to state a claim for civil extortion. This is when he's trying to get out of the civil extortion. It says a civil extortion claim against Mr. Reynolds must be dismissed because New York law does not recognize extortion as a tort or any private right of action. Similarly, although California federal courts have divided over whether California recognizes a civil cause of action for extortion, the most that California state courts have recognized under the heading of civil extortion is a cause of action for the recovery of money obtained by the wrongful threat of criminal or civil prosecution, where the threat of prosecution is made with the knowledge of the falsity of the claim. because that cause of action is a form of fraud. It must be pleaded with particular. It says the FAC is devoid of any allegations, much less particularized allegations that Mr. Reynolds obtained any money or property from any of the Wayfarer defendants or made any wrongful threat of prosecution, much less with knowledge of the falsity of the claim. And the same is true using the borrowed elements of criminal extortion.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that he has a strong case here, Reynolds, because I mean, the one that really extorted him was Blake, because she was the one that made these threats allegedly, and then it ended up in the New York Times. So it seemed like it went through. I mean, sure, there was no exchange of money, so the extortion wasn't, executed. But I mean, this, in my opinion, does feel. I mean, remember they wanted him to, or well, they're claiming Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively wanted him to issue that statement, which they declined to do.
Yep. Yep. That's true. Interesting. Okay. Then it says the intentional interference claims must be dismissed. The tortious, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Tortious. The tortious interference claims are duplicative of the defamation claim. As an initial matter, each of the tortious interference claims must also be dismissed as duplicative of the defamation claim. New York law considers claims sounding in tort to be defamation claims where those causes of action seek damages only for injury to reputation or where the entire injury complained of by plaintiff flows from the effect on his reputation. Whether Mr. Reynolds' alleged statements to William Morris are actionable in light of their claimed effect on Mr. Baldoni's reputation must fall as well under the pleading requirements for defamation. Nonetheless, each claim fails on its own terms as well. Explain.
I wasn't paying attention.
Seriously?
Okay,
Okay, whether
the
Mr. Reynolds'
claim
alleged statements are actionable in light of their claimed effect on Mr. Baldoni's reputation must fall as well under the pleading requirements for defamation, or each claim fails on its own terms, basically. It has to basically be under defamation or not, essentially. They're duplicative.
Yeah, I guess my understanding is they're trying to say that it has to meet all the check marks of defamation, which and I guess with their argument about it being an opinion and not being like a true statement that they knew was false and maliciously wanted to, I don't know. It really depends on what was said to WME. That's really what this comes down to, is what was actually said to them. And I would assume that this WME agent will be deposed, and
Has to be.
it'll be very telling what this person says under oath, if they're going to defend Reynolds or they're going
Well,
to.
that's the problem, is it's going to be under oath, but this is also going to be their client and their employer, and it's going to be really, really, really challenging for them.
It's going to be a bombshell situation. I mean, specifically for Reynolds and whether Reynolds is accountable in all of this. The Blake Lively of it all, I don't think that's going to completely go down as the sinking ship, the Titanic. But as far as Ryan Reynolds' involvement in this with the defamation side of it, I mean, listen, you can't dispute that WME said, Ari Emanuel said that he is ride or die for Blake and Ryan, and that Justin Baldoni was fired.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I just worry it's just going to be it's going to be such, at what point do you have to lie to save your career?
But here's the thing. Brian Friedman has to have something on WME, whether it's an email or a text message. Like somehow they became privy to this conversation. Maybe it's a text message from an agent that says, listen, Ryan told us blah, 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 blah. We had no other choice, which to me is a bit of a smoking gun here that Ryan Reynolds might not be aware of. I don't know. There has to be some sort of paper trail, because somehow Justin Baldoni and Brian Friedman became aware that WME had this conversation with Ryan Reynolds. My question is, how did they become aware of this conversation, and how can they prove that this conversation actually did happen? They have to have something to be able to prove
there's
that.
no way it was just hearsay. I mean, they had to know it somehow. There was an agent that told Justin Baldoni that this conversation happened.
And I'm assuming maybe it was in a text message. I'm hoping it wasn't just over the phone, because then it's just like a he said, she said. Which, by the way, did you watch the
No, the new documentary?
Apparently, I don't know if you're in it, but somebody told me I'm in it.
No way.
I guess I don't know, they might use a bit of content, so I would
That's
assume if they're
crazy that
using
they can
my
just
content,
do that.
they did it to Emily D. Baker on Netflix.
And they didn't tell her?
In the Depp v. I remember this when the Depp v. Heard stuff was going on, and then they did their documentary series about it, and they used her clips from her YouTube channel.
But no one sent you like a clip of it?
Somebody told me that there was a clip of me in it, but I was like, I don't even know who to ask.
Wow. You can't access it here at all?
Well, there's a condensed version that's airing on Max here in the US, but it's not the actual version that
Is in the UK.
yeah.
Okay, so then there's a whole section about the
Oh,
contract.
Lance is here.
Oh, hi Lance. Where are you? Oh, he's waiting to pick up Oliver from the bus stop. Hi, Bowling. Look, my husband is supporting me. My opinion of my husband is okay. So, yeah, you would think
Oh,
they
see,
need your.
somebody said yes. Okay, can somebody send me a clip? Like, can you like record it and send me a clip of it so that I can see? I'm not doing a VPN. I don't know what a VPN is.
No, VPNs stress me out.
It sounds stressful, and I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. All
Somebody
right.
just watch it and like, can you just record a clip and send it to me so that I can see it? Wow, they didn't use you, Donna. That sounds sexist.
Oh my God, they hate women.
Hmm.
They don't like mommy,
Mommy sleuths.
mommy sleuths. All right. So then there's a lot about the contract here, how William Morris has breached contract. It says the FAC fails each of the requirements. The sole contract alleged in the complaint is a contract between the Wayfarer parties and William Morris Endeavor, but the FAC does not allege any details about the contract including which parties it allegedly bound, what the contract's terms were, or what provisions were allegedly breached. Strikingly, throughout the entire FAC, there is not a single allegation that William Morris breached its contract with any Wayfarer party, much less a description or a quotation of a contractual term allegedly breached, et
Yeah,
cetera, et cetera.
I think they have a strong case there. They didn't breach any contract.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, when you're with a talent agency or management company, they can drop you at
For any reason.
as in the contract, they can drop you at any reason at any time without prior, advance notice.
Yeah.
Like it's standard.
And then this next part is similar. It's around the same kind of story, but it's about the FAC fails to state a claim for intentional interference with prospective economic advantages. It says in the absence of an allegation that a specific contract was actually breached, the FAC must satisfy the more stringent requirements for a claim of intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. It does not. To state such a claim, a plaintiff must allege it had a business relationship with a third party. The defendant knew of that relationship and intentionally interfered with it. The defendant acted solely out of malice or used as dishonest, unfair, or improper means. And the defendant's interference caused injury to the relationship. Once again, the sole economic relationship alleged in the FAC is between Wayfarer parties and William Morris without specification to which of the Wayfarer parties had such a relationship. The FAC does not even attempt to allege that Mr. Reynolds acted solely out of malice, as is required to survive a motion to dismiss. But the FAC asserts that Ms. Lively and Mr. Reynolds were motivated, at least in part, by a desire to seize control over a film production. Taking that allegation as true, as the court must at this stage, whether or not it is true, such a motive, akin to normal economic self-interest, is inconsistent with the sole purpose of inflicting intentional harm and insufficient to state a claim for tortious interference with prospective economic advantage. Wow. That feels like a lot. Nor does the FAC allege that Mr. Reynolds employed any wrongful means. I mean, it's going and going and going. And basically, it says, but there is nothing in the FAC that amounts to an allegation of wrongful means. At most, the FAC alleges that Mr. Reynolds approached an executive at William Morris and suggested the agency was working with a sexual predator, and at a later date demanded that the agent drop Baldoni. But sharp language such as insulting a defendant by calling them a thief and a scumbag is not wrongful or culpable conduct. Shout out Cody Brown, sufficient to qualify as wrongful means. And pleading the presence of false statements alone is not enough to support a claim for tortious. There are so many words. Tortious interference. And then it just basically says it again. It says the FAC lacks a single allegation suggesting, let alone establishing, that Mr. Reynolds' alleged demand was anything other than an expression of sincerely held beliefs. So basically, it's just an opinion. It was just his beliefs.
It's a weak argument.
I agree.
And I don't think the judge is going to let it stick, to be honest. It's not a very strong argument. In my opinion, I'm not a judge, but I think that this
You're
judge,
not.
from what we've seen so far, this judge is very much like a zero tolerance sort of guy. And I don't think any of these defendants, maybe with exception for the New York Times, but I'm waiting to see what the amended complaint comes from Brian Friedman. I don't think that Reynolds or Leslie Sloan will be dismissed.
Yep. And it just keeps going on. I mean, there's very, very small little random, the FAC fails to do this. The FAC fails to do this. He's just really trying any possible which way he can to get out of this. It then goes to say that Wayfarer complaint fails to allege conspiracy liability. It says having failed to allege any plausible claim based on Mr. Reynolds' conduct, the FAC attempts to hold him liable on a conspiracy theory. That attempt fails. Under both California and New York law, a civil conspiracy theory requires that a plaintiff allege an agreement to participate in a lawful act in an unlawful means, an overt act performed in furtherance of the scheme, and an injury caused by the overt act. Conclusory allegations do not suffice. To survive a motion to dismiss, a complaint must contain more blah, 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 blah. Here, the FAC pleads no specific facts indicating the necessary agreement among any parties. Again, it's very repetitive.
Yeah, they're basically just saying, I mean, it's very repetitive of saying they have no case, they have no case, they have no case, they have no case, they haven't proved their case, they haven't proved their case. But also, you're not going to prove your case yet because we haven't even fully moved into discovery just yet. And I don't think there are any privileges or protections that would protect Ryan Reynolds in this case, whereas at least the New York Times does have privileges that would protect them under, the press, that I would imagine Ryan Reynolds moves forward. I could see where the New York Times may be able to slither out of this, but even if they do slither out of it, they're still going to be part of this lawsuit. They're just not going to be a defendant in it.
Yeah, they have to be. It's a huge part of the case.
Yeah.
And then it says the court should award Mr. Reynolds attorney's fees pursuant to New York's anti-SLAPP law. Unreal. He's trying to get his attorney's fees covered. And then it says the court should strike Exhibit A to the Wayfarer complaint, or at minimum, disregard it. I don't even remember what Exhibit A was. Conclusion. All claims against Mr. Reynolds should be dismissed with prejudice and without leave to amend. And the court should award Mr. Reynolds his costs, including attorney's fees incurred as a result of the consolidated action. Unreal. And I'll tell you something. I can imagine, I mean, if you read the beginning of this lawsuit or the beginning of this complaint, Zach, later, you will die because you see Ryan Reynolds, and I was saying it earlier, you see him walking back and forth in his office with his little glasses, just like steaming, just so excited because he just wrote the lawsuit of his dreams. He's like, we got him. We got him on the opinion. We found it. Opinion, lives matter.
I mean, grasping at straws.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to go and watch my son play baseball. Everyone, make sure to subscribe to Zach Peter. Zach Peter is so close to 100,000 subscribers. How many do you got today?
Say what?
Dude, what? Now
Sorry,
I'm go and say that you don't pay attention to me again.
I don't.
Every time
you bore me, and I secretly hate you. That's why I keep coming back on your show. Because I low-key just internally hate you. Sorry, can you not hear my phone blowing up? It won't stop texting. What did you ask me?
So now you're too popular for me.
What did you ask me?
How
did I just fall out of a coconut tree?
I'm so sad now. I'm like depressed. You left me. We didn't talk all day yesterday, and I texted you this morning. I wrote hi.
No,
and you wrote hi. And
I had texted Donna, and she was ignoring me for the last 48 hours.
24. I
No,
had
you know what
one
she
of the
did?
worst days of my life.
She was ignoring me and then went behind my back and taped a whole podcast episode with Dave Neal, even
Bull.
though we were all on a group thread about doing it together. And then I see her stab me in the back like Blake Lively doing a secret interview with
That's
Dave.
your opinion, and your opinion does not hold in court. And I will say one thing and one thing fast. I started today's show crying. So I'm sensitive today. Do you want to come at me?
Yes.
I love you
I love
more
you too.
than life itself. Can I sing you a song?
No.
See, Ray says she loves you, Zach. That's actually why I cried.
I
Because
know.
I was like, I never want Zach to be sad.
Why was I sad?
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Oh.
I love you. And Zachy, you're so close to 100,000. We got to get you there.
We're working on it.
I
We're
know.
doing it. We're doing it. That should
Okay.
be the goal. Get me to 100 and then get Donna to 50.
Well, get me to 50 and then get you to 100 maybe.
Okay.
I love you. Tanya says, don't fight mom and dad. Yeah, we have dinner and dessert to go to.
I know. We
gotta
have to
find
at
a good
least
place.
we have to at least make it to dinner first, and then once I milk her for the free super chats, then
Why are you milking me? That's so sexual harassment.
listen, according to Gwyneth Paltrow, we're not from that era.
Why are you milking me?
That's gonna end up on a Reddit.
I love you, Zachy. I love you guys. Listen, team Justin still for me.
The mommy sleuths and the daddy sleuths unite.
Yes.
Zach, are you going to Doser's Live? DoserCon?
We took the con out of it. We're not a con. Why are you saying that face? What is that face?
No, because somebody said something about your boobs in the live chat.
You're talking about.
Like, oh.
But what's the answer? What's the answer?
To DoserCon?
It's not the con.
Oh, Doser's Live. What is it called?
There you go. Doser's Live.
Oh, Doser's
August
Live.
23rd.
This is a Doser's Live. We're Doser's Live right now.
It's August 23rd in Los Angeles live, dude. And you know you're going to be there. You're on stage with me,
Yes,
my
I will
friend.
be there. Yes, I'll be there.
Please. You guys, love you. Talk to you soon. I'm going to baseball. Bye.
Yay. Bye.
See ya. Bye.